Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the vast expanse of human experience, guided by the lantern of curiosity and the compass of wonder. Today, we set our sights on one of the most epic tales in the annals of history, the Mongol Conquests. This sweeping narrative will transport us across the steppes of Central Asia, into the heart of a maelstrom that would forever alter the course of human civilization. In the early 13th century, a perfect storm of factors converged to unleash a whirlwind of conquest upon the world. At the eye of this tempest stood a figure of unyielding resolve and cunning, Temujin, later known to history as Genghis Khan. Born around 1162 AD in the Khentai Mountains of Mongolia, Temujin's early life was marked by hardship and struggle. His father, Yesuge, a Mongol chieftain, was poisoned when Temujin was just a boy, leaving his family vulnerable and adrift. The Mongolia of Temujin's youth was a land of fragmented tribes and constant strife, where the strong devoured the weak and alliances were forged and broken with alarming frequency. It was here, amidst this unforgiving landscape, that Temujin began to hone his skills as a warrior and a leader, eventually attracting a coterie of loyal followers who would become the nucleus of the Mongol Empire. As Temujin navigated the treacherous waters of tribal politics, he formed a crucial alliance with Jamuka, a childhood friend and fellow warrior. Together, they launched a series of successful raids against their enemies, expanding their territory and solidifying their reputation as formidable military leaders. However, this partnership was not destined to last, as the two men eventually found themselves on opposite sides of a bitter struggle for dominance. The pivotal moment in Temujin's rise to power came in 1206, when he was formally recognized as the Khan, or leader, of the Mongols. This milestone marked the beginning of a new era, one in which Temujin would wield his unparalleled military genius to forge a vast and unprecedented empire. The Mongols, with their lightning-fast mounted archers, innovative tactics, and rigid discipline, were an unstoppable force on the battlefield. As they began to coalesce into a unified entity, their sights turned outward, toward the fertile plains of China, the riches of Central Asia, and the distant horizons of Eastern Europe. In the years leading up to the Mongol conquests, Temujin's attention turned to the Tanguts, a powerful and sophisticated people who controlled a vast swath of western China. The Tanguts, with their advanced agriculture, complex system of government, and rich cultural heritage, presented a formidable challenge to the Mongols. However, Temujin was undaunted, recognizing that the conquest of the Tanguts would provide a crucial stepping stone for his future ambitions. As the Mongols began to probe the Tangut borders, they encountered a complex web of alliances and rivalries, with various tribes and city-states vying for influence in the region. The Merkits, a neighboring tribe, had long been a thorn in the side of the Mongols, and Temujin saw an opportunity to eliminate this threat once and for all. In a daring campaign, the Mongols crushed the Merkits, incorporating their people into the growing Mongol Empire. With the Merkits defeated and the Tanguts looming on the horizon, Temujin turned his attention to the internal dynamics of his own empire. He established a rigorous system of governance, with a strict code of laws and a hierarchical structure that rewarded loyalty and merit. The Mongols, once a loose confederation of tribes, were now a cohesive and disciplined force, ready to unleash their fury upon the world. As the Mongols continued to expand their empire, they set their sights on the Jin dynasty in northern China, a powerful and wealthy state that had long been a thorn in the side of the Mongols. In 1211, Temujin launched a massive invasion of Jin territory with a vast army of mounted archers, infantry, and siege engines. The Mongols swept across the plains of northern China, leaving a trail of destruction and devastation in their wake. The Jin dynasty, despite its impressive military resources, was ultimately unable to withstand the Mongol onslaught. One of the most significant battles of this campaign took place at the Battle of Yahuling in 1211, where the Mongols employed their innovative tactic of feigned retreat, luring the Jin forces into a trap and then annihilating them. This victory marked a major turning point in the war, as the Mongols were able to break through the Jin defenses and pour into the heart of northern China. The Jin capital, Bianjing, was eventually besieged and captured in 1214, marking a major milestone in the Mongol conquests. As the Mongols continued their expansion into China, they also began to turn their attention to Central Asia, where the wealthy and powerful Khwarezmid Empire had long been a dominant force. In 1219, Temujin's successor, Genghis Khan, launched a massive invasion of Khwarezmid territory with a vast army of Mongol warriors and siege engines. The Khwarezmids, despite their impressive military resources, were ultimately unable to withstand the Mongol onslaught, and their empire was rapidly overrun. One of the most infamous episodes of this campaign took place at the city of Merv, which was besieged and captured by the Mongols in 1221. According to the Persian historian Rashid al-Din Hamadani, the Mongols massacred the entire population of the city, with estimates suggesting that over 700,000 people were killed. This brutal slaughter marked a grim milestone in the Mongol conquests, as the Mongols demonstrated their willingness to use terror and violence to achieve their goals. As the Mongols continued their expansion into Central Asia, they also began to turn their attention to Eastern Europe, where the Russian principalities and the Kingdom of Hungary were major powers. In 1236, the Mongols launched a massive invasion of Eastern Europe with a vast army of mounted archers, infantry, and siege engines. The Mongols swept across the steppes of Ukraine and Russia, leaving a trail of destruction and devastation in their wake. One of the most significant battles of this campaign took place at the Battle of the Sit River in 1238, where the Mongols defeated a combined force of Russian and Bulgarian warriors. This victory marked a major turning point in the war, as the Mongols were able to break through the Russian defenses and pour into the heart of Eastern Europe. The city of Kiev was eventually besieged and captured in 1240, marking a major milestone in the Mongol conquests. As the Mongols continued their expansion into Eastern Europe, they also began to encounter new and formidable enemies, including the Teutonic Knights and the Kingdom of Poland. In 1241, the Mongols launched a massive invasion of Poland with a vast army of mounted archers, infantry, and siege engines. The Mongols swept across the plains of Poland, leaving a trail of destruction and devastation in their wake. The Battle of Legnica, which took place on April 9, 1241, was one of the most significant battles of this campaign, where the Mongols defeated a combined force of Polish, German, and Templar warriors. According to the medieval historian Jan de Nogosz, the Mongols employed their innovative tactic of feigned retreat, luring the enemy forces into a trap and then annihilating them. This victory marked a major turning point in the war, as the Mongols were able to break through the Polish defenses and pour into the heart of Eastern Europe. As the Mongols continued their expansion into Eastern Europe, they eventually reached the shores of the Adriatic Sea, marking the westernmost extent of their conquests. However, their advance was ultimately halted by the death of Genghis Khan in 1241, which led to a period of succession crisis and internal power struggles within the Mongol Empire. This temporary distraction allowed the European powers to regroup and reassess their defenses, ultimately preventing the Mongols from pushing further into Western Europe. One of the most significant later events of the Mongol conquests was the establishment of the Yuan dynasty in China, founded by Kublai Khan in 1271. The Yuan dynasty marked a new era of Mongol rule in China, characterized by a blend of Mongolian and Chinese cultures, as well as extensive trade and cultural exchange with other parts of the world. As the Moroccan traveler Ibn Battuta observed during his visit to China in the 14th century. This city of Khanbalik is the largest and most populous city in the world, and it is the capital of the Khan's kingdom. The city is surrounded by a wall, and it has many markets and streets, and it is filled with people from all parts of the world. The Mongol conquests also had a profound impact on the development of global trade and commerce. The establishment of the Silk Road, a network of trade routes that stretched from China to Europe, facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between East and West. As the Venetian merchant Marco Polo noted during his travels along the Silk Road in the 13th century, "The road is long and difficult, but it is also very profitable, for the merchants who travel on it can gain great wealth and fame." Today, the Mongol conquests are remembered as one of the most significant events in world history, marking a period of unprecedented expansion, cultural exchange, and transformation. The legacy of Genghis Khan and his successors can be seen in the modern-day borders of many countries, including China, Russia, and Mongolia, as well as in the cultural and linguistic heritage of numerous ethnic groups around the world. As the historian Thomas Barfield has noted, the Mongols were not just conquerors, but also creators of a new world order. They established a system of governance and administration that was more efficient and effective than anything that had come before. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.